We're going to have a very, very interesting program tonight. I'm sure you're going to find it that way. And so we sell them drugs and...
FrekwentC here, otherwise known as FrekwentC, FrekwentC or the FrekwentC. What's happening?
I say I talk a lot of shit, should probably call it quits. It's all legit though, they hate honesty, ignore the rest. Taking orders like a bitch, no thanks to war with the brothers.
So I guess that's the first question that everyone's going to want to ask you, brother, is after 20 years of writing, how come it's now that the album's finally coming out? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Well, I guess to be honest, I suffered a lot of substance abuse issues and stuff when I was a younger kid. And to be honest, I thought that if I had blown up or any fame or any sort of limelight had appeared, that I think it would have, severe cracks would have appeared in my life.
So you sort of felt that if you had been subjected to that open limelight, that it may have been impactful and take you back to those demons that you were fighting?
Most definitely, yeah. No, look, you know, the game's not what it looks like beyond the screen.
And good segue to start with. Didn't mean to do it, but seeing as we spoke about demons there briefly, can you tell us a little bit about the track Demons and any of the story behind the visuals?
Yeah, so Demons, that was one hell of a project, no pun intended. Look, I wasn't feeling very good. I was living on this life, you know, I'm grossing per annum $1 million a year. Running my own company, doing all this stuff, living in this luxurious home. I could take the perfect Instagram pictures and just show it that it was beautiful, that I was living sweet. But the truth is I wasn't. You know, the truth is I was an addict. Truth is, you know, that I was suffering. And the truth is that money can't buy you out of pain. As far as the clip and the visuals, I just wanted to keep it as real as possible. Film from my own house to my own waterfront. Not much more I could say about that.
Yeah, bro, I can definitely relate to that. We've all definitely been through our trials and tribulations. With the focus of your writing, did you have sort of a plan set, or did you have like an end game that you sort of set out to achieve, or was it more just you wrote what you were feeling at the time and sort of focused on it that way?
Look, it was a mixture. I feel like I knew the destination that I had to go towards. I didn't know how to make it there. You know, there was a lot of obstacles in the way, and but I did know where I had to go. You know, the reason the album's called The Rebirth is it was a manifestation of me wanting to reconstruct my life and to start again. And I just couldn't stop writing until I felt that I'd done that.
You mentioned Rebirth. That was one of the prior tracks that we actually had dropped on Body Bag Media. Can you give us a sort of a background on the way that you had sunk yourself into the writing aspect of that track?
Oh, the writing aspect.
There's a lot of things that go over people's heads with that.
Yeah, oh, I dare say there's a lot of things that go over people's heads with all of my tracks. You know, I try to keep it like The Simpsons. It's a 3-peer platform. You know, I keep it nice and simple on the appearances for the kids. The people that think they're adults, they get to laugh at the kids for not getting the jokes. And then there's the predictions and you know, the stuff for the big boys.
Fuck yeah, I love that shit. You also said you mentioned starting again when you said about Rebirth. That is another track that is on the coming album. Just wanted to get a little bit of a brief background on the way that you come about with that idea for that track.
I guess Start Again. You know, in truth, I don't feel it's my strongest, but it's my most honest. You know, and I felt that I was there. I felt that the rebirth had nearly happened, that I'd nearly manifested this reality, that this was more than just an album, that I was rewriting my universe, no pun intended, when I was writing these verses. And Start Again was just knowing I was so close, and it was time to re-look at myself and start again.
Yeah, right. Awesome. Another thing that I sort of noticed that you had incorporated into a lot of things, you talk about medication and stuff that is highly 80s accentuated. I wanted to have a chat about Red Pill. Because it's got a lot of shit in that no one will understand. Like, if you can elaborate on how you came up with that, or not the rhyme scheme so much, but your writing technique that you came up with, Red Pill.
Yeah.
Because it goes from 80s to 90s to 2000s to 2020s.
Yeah, Red Pill definitely incorporates a lot of things. I'm sure most of the puns will go over other people's heads. Hell, I listen to it myself and I'm like, wait up, I think I also said this. Like, it's fucked. That one is just, it blew, I don't know, mate. I can't even remember that weekend, but it was a good film.
I think by far one of the biggest tracks that is going to come off of this album, and one of the biggest visual aspects and impacts that people are going to realise when they see it, is going to be the Purge. And you actually got a pretty big name in on that one, and a hell of a guy. Just wondering if you can give us a bit of a chat about that and talk about how you came up with that idea and who we had on it.
Oh yeah, the Purge. Shout out to Little Sick. Look, I don't know what happened. I just decided to reach out to Little Sick. I always appreciated his troll aspect. I like the fact that he didn't take himself too serious and he was just happy to troll everyone. I thought that was fucking hilarious. But I also felt like I wanted to give him a platform to write something a bit more serious. I also think we are moving into a new age and that there is a lot that we are purging. Me personally, it's part of the rebirth, purging certain parts of me. I feel like, that literally we're all going through one, like this is the great reset, so to speak. But yeah, the Purge. Yeah, the Purge. That was one wild track, man.
It was one hell of a weekend of a clip too.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Please forgive us.
Once people see that comes out, that was literally an hour hike through the bush with gear upon gear upon gear, like lights and cameras and fog machines and audio equipment and 30 fucking people and 7 utes and fucking...
The background for that was insane. Like, one thing I want to point out, in all my film clips, I spent a total of like $30 on shirts for every film clip. Like, that's all of them. I just bought 2 packets from bloody...
Well, Bond singlets
don't cost much. Singlets and Bond shirts. But I spent like $2,000 at the $2 store on fucking dumb shit. And had to pay all my employees to trudge shit through mud, through the bush for hours to get like all this random shit that we didn't even put in the clip. Shout out to Spanian. He did Ghost Hunters. How funny was that? And he went back and found the remnants of the Purge.
We'll flick up a shot of it here. If you're seeing this shot here, the green screened TVs that's on the wall, we put those on there and we took in hammer drills and fucking found all these TVs on the council throw out and screwed them to the walls, and you'll see them incorporated in the clips. Like, we'll show shots here, and shout out Spanian, you're a fucking mad cunt, and the shit you're doing now, man, and the voice that you're giving to the young'uns, that's fucking awesome.
Actually, yeah, mad shout out to Spanian, and to be honest, he's a massive inspiration. Yeah, I probably... admittedly was, the music side of things. What he's doing now has inspired me so much. It's kind of actually what I'm doing, what I've hoped to accomplish with this album, is to show young men that, that this, I'm a hard cunt because I'll bash someone. No, you're probably weak as piss because you let your feelings get hurt real easy. I'm a hard cunt because I'll fucking rob someone. Try and get up at 7 a.m, go to fucking work every day, you gronk. Yeah, and I love anyone that's promoting that message. Big love.
And that is a true compliment to him, because he always said, if you look back into his old interviews, I'll never fucking work for anyone. And now he's up every day, grinding, has an office,
massive shout outs there. That was just hilarious that organically happened. Gotta love it.
The other crazy thing about the Purge clip, it was never actually meant to happen there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were going to shoot it at Wanji. Yeah. It's too many security guards and seconds there. We wanted to set too much and have like 30 people run around in masks and covered in dripping blood and weapons. I thought, next minute, the fucking squad team would rock up if we did that there.
Can you imagine?
Oh, that was one wild weekend, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What are you doing, lads? It's a snuff film. Speaking of how the plans had originally changed, can you tell us a little bit about Changes?
Changes has got to be my favourite. I think the day I wrote Changes is the day I knew the rebirth had happened and I could stop writing. I just woke up one morning and just felt a vibe, you know. I just picked up the pen, I started writing. I played around with a few different types of styles. Always wanted to be a singer, not a rapper. I thought rapping was gay, but
Be nice.
Scratch that.
That's fine.
That's coming in now, you can't, isn't it? No. So look, I liked that one. Look, the day I wrote Changes, I just woke up one morning and just started writing. I changed. So changed. How did change come about? So interestingly enough, I'd been writing for 20 years. I never released anything, really. There was like an underground CD that sort of went viral via the post, believe it or not, like, you know, bloody 15 years ago sort of thing, like, you know, back in the old days. Yeah, it was wild. The amount of people that know about that, I just don't know how. Yeah, Fear and Loathing and Surface Paradise. Oh, jeez, that was wild. But, yeah, you know, so I just gave up on writing. Oh, well, I didn't give up on writing. I just wrote. I didn't care to release. I didn't care to perform. I had nothing to prove to anyone but myself. I was just trying to manifest a new reality, write a new universe, so to speak. And about 5 years ago, I realised I was getting older and decided I wanted something, you know, maybe I need to leave something behind, show the grandkids I was cool, you know, little fucks. No. Gotta have something first, but anyway. You know, look at me. See, granddad wasn't too bad. No.
What a sneak gun.
No, so look, how Change came about was that 5 years ago, I wrote a song called Changes. And it was a desire and a manifestation to change. I'd been in a psychosis for many years. I was on the disability pension. I got myself out of that predicament, put myself in a self-imposed rehabilitation clinic, started earning money, started saving money, started building and started my own business. And then once I became an independent man working for himself that had to give up the disability pension. That was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life, give away that free money. But no, I couldn't live like that. So when I got to that stage of my life, I wrote a song called Changes. I'd only just started Facebook at 30. It's like 6 years ago. I'd only done it to promote my business. I didn't care for it. Now I'm as addicted as the next screen crackhead. But I wrote Changes, and you know, it's so strange. I just started this business. I moved in with this chick. We had a big argument. I got kicked out. I'm ended up homeless, running my own business. And 6 years later, I'm sitting in this $1 million apartment overlooking the house that I wrote Changes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm right, I've fucking changed. And I woke up that morning, just wrote Changed.
Yeah,
looking
100%.
at the house I wrote Changes in. Couldn't believe it.
With you were saying about the manifestation and the point where you became a man. Can you tell us about that massive symbolic part in the track where you identify something that happened in your past that was part of the factors that put you into that rehabilitation when you're holding up the gaff hook and the sausage roll? Just for people that don't understand that, because that's a fucking hell of a story.
Oh, look, it's embarrassing. Essentially, in short, I got done for armed robbery for a sausage roll with a gaff hook. Just basically ran in there like fucking Mortal Kombat. Come in here.
We'll flick that shot up here. Not of the robbery, but...
That was many years ago.
If we could find some fucking news footage, that'd be fucking great.
Don't you dare. It says the Bun Bandit. It's almost close to Bum Bandit. So embarrassing.
That's fucking gold.
But by the way, kids, I was in a psychosis. I was a fuckwit, okay? And that is everything I stand against. And that just goes to show how low you can go. I was, in a full psychosis, robbed a bloody fucking bakery for a sausage roll. I had money in my pocket and everything. They just wouldn't serve me because it was closed. So I just busted through the back door with a gaff hook. And he wouldn't even give it to me. He was strong as. He stood there like, no. And I'm like, oh, he's not even... like most of these cunts, it was bluff. Like, I wasn't ready to do anything. So I just hooked a cinnamon bun from behind him and ran off.
Well, that's where the bun bandit came from.
Yeah, that's why it was the bun bandit. Do not go looking for that.
It's a bit of a strange segue, but speaking on the topic of food, one of the clips that we shot, there's a scene in it where a guy and a girl are sitting down having quite a nice dinner, and it sort of turns sinister. And you'll see quite a repeat amount of actors that are throughout these clips. Can you give us a bit of a story and a bit of a background on the visualisation of fantasy?
Fantasy. Oh, that's a good one. Look, fantasy was wrote after pretty obviously to anyone who listens to it. It was wrote after a pretty toxic relationship. For the first time ever, I could claim I was the good one. I was the one trying to do the right thing.
Highly debatable.
And I was trying to do the right thing, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. She's a lovely woman, but she's got her problems. Don't we all? She might have had a couple more than the average chick, though. Outside of that, fantasy on the album itself, I consider a bit of a metaphor that most people were living in a fantasy before 2020. Obviously, a lot's changed, and we all have rebirthed through the reset, I would suggest.
I like in the clip how he came up with the idea of they were sitting there having dinner, and it's like you'll see in the clip, but it's almost like she's just speaking to someone that's blank, because that's not even the object of her affection. It's only when it comes time for the sex part and you see it morphs into the screen that they're sitting in front of having their dinner. Can you give us any background behind that metaphor?
Yeah, look, you will see a thing of masks going on. Obviously, we had the 2020 masks and everything earlier, but even more of that, I think, like, I read an interesting book called The Mask of Masculinity. And there is so many blokes out there, just pretending, really. And so many women falling for that too. It's a mask, I suggest we all have many, many masks, and it takes a lot of guts to unravel them. So you will see masks pop up a lot with fantasy in particular. Yeah, it was kind of the mask of masculinity, and yeah, just keep it at that.
Yeah, 100%. No, I like the way that we actually did construct that clip, and then how we have the big fella Norm come out at the end, and he's got his mask on, and it's sort of representing that's someone else's, that's that person's conscience coming away from that aspect of not actually being true to themselves and finding comfort in discomfort in a way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the yin-yang philosophy. And,
yin-yang emoji.
There is definitely discomfort in comfort, and like vice versa.
We spoke on a book there real quickly. Just before we go, I wanted to talk about one more book, 1984, George Orwell. People will see that flash up in Red Pill. Can you give us a little bit of a topic status on why that was of vital importance to you, and why you actually chose to have that in a clip? Because that was like a pretty signifying thing.
I forced it in there. You hadn't read the book yet at the time.
And I've read it now, and I'm like,
oh, brother, right. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Everyone, go read it.
Read it.
Go read it. No, that's just such. Look, I was born in 1983 to begin with, so I was lucky. A year before Fauci started the 1984. Interestingly enough, in 1984 in real life, that's when Fauci started the whole jab thing. This has been going for a while, folks. Outside of that, 1984, the book...
It's mandated jabs.
Yeah. But that was, yeah. But yeah, no, I was born in 1983, luckily. Alright, so 1984 is quite a significant book. There'll be many references to George Orwell. I recommend anyone go read it, because in truth, while it's fiction, it is the most honest book out there. And I suggest that it runs in line with my album Towards the Future as well. One of the reasons it's taken me so long to release this album is, to be honest, no one would have knew what I was talking about. Now it seems like topics of the day. Half these songs were written in 2016, so.
Yeah, 100%, man. I don't think that we want to dive too much further into the remainder of the tracks because there's going to be a hell of a lot of features, a hell of a lot of stuff that people are not even fucking prepared for that's coming out on this, let alone the upcoming projects that they shouldn't be spoken about yet because there is so many things that are in the works. But is there anything that you want to say to your listeners, your watchers, and any potential listeners and watchers for the future, and any shout outs you want to give for people that were involved in this project? And yeah, moving forward, what should we look for?
Yeah, look, I'd just like to thank anyone that's been waiting. I apologise, there's probably a few of you out there really hanging, but started with 13 years. I scrapped that after 2 years. Well, 13 years the album. Moved on to Rebirth. I was building my company in the background. So it took a while, but it's done now. Outside of that, really want to shout out yourself, Ideal, for the film clips. Everyone I've worked with, big love to Beat Fiend Blake for all the recordings. Complete, Mike Righteous, Eric Devine. Who else got on there? Little Sick. There's probably other features. And what's to come. And everyone that was part of it. Me missus. Just anyone that knows me knows that I love them. And thanks for waiting.
All right, guys. I reckon that's it for now. Any last words, big fella?
Look, you can do this. You're worthy. The streets don't prove you hard. Get out there and do what's right. Do what's right by your mum. Do what's right by your heart. Do what's right by your missus. Do what's right by your fellow man. Big love.
Hey, and you know what I always fucking say? If we don't see you in the meantime, we'll see you in the next fucking project.
Wait for that one. Shh.
See you, baby!
That was nice, bro. Thanks for that.
Yeah, hopefully we didn't fuck anything up.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't press record. Alright, let's check the audio.
That's not music. You're going to find it that way.
Stomp yourself.
And so we saw drums.
Well, that was a fucking dumb idea.